Second World War bombings was one of the darkest hours of Manchester United history. But as we know, the club is known for its comebacks. Old Trafford also did make a sort of a comeback after the World War, because it took about 8-9 years for the reconstruction, but comeback did we make. And in 1945, actually, Sir Matt Busby was appointed as manager, and
Yes.
that was like a new chapter in our history.
Yeah, absolutely. I think our upward swing in some of the performances in the league started with Sir Matt Busby. We were, I think, second in the lead up to 47, 48, and 49 season. And which is where when we moved back to Old Trafford in 49 season, the good performances continued. And I think it was in 51, 52 when we won the league again after 37 odd years, if I'm not wrong. And which is when the entire Sir Matt Busby era started. Unfortunately, we had the Munich air disaster in between. There is a video we'll put the link here so you can probably watch that as well, where we talked about the Munich air disaster. But yeah, I think this team showed the resilience. Sir Matt Busby was critical to setting up this team again, and Old Trafford saw some great victories, and also went on to win the European Cup in '68. So I think it was brilliant at that point in time. And at the same time, there was a lot of architectural changes that were happening. '66 was the time when the club hosted few games of the World Cup at that in that year. So I think underwent a lot of renovation, and there were a lot of changes that happened in the club at that point in time.
Yeah, I mean, engineering wise, architecture wise, this is one of the best stadiums in the world. And, players have very often talked about how big the stadium is. In fact, it does feel bigger. We have obviously been there for a match and we have seen the size of it, the mammoth size of it. But okay, here you go. Right. Even the perception of Manchester United, Old Trafford being the biggest one, it is not the biggest one. In fact, I'd would like you to guess which ground do you think is the biggest ground in the Premier League stadium?
Today,
Yep, today.
uh, in
Talking surface.
surface area wise, I don't know. I think capacity wise, it might have been Spurs' new stadium. Surface area wise, I'm not sure. I'll take a wild guess. Stanford Bridge?
No, I'll just give you one guess, and I think you should be able to. This team has a brilliant historic past, and they've been doing brilliantly this year.
Aston Villa?
No,
Nottingham
one
Forest?
more guess. Yes, it is Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest have the biggest surface area-wise stadium in the Premier League. The smallest one, could you guess? Again, a team they haven't won in the past, but
Yeah.
they are doing brilliantly this year. And let me okay, they have a Brazilian midfielder who used to play for Manchester United. There goes your hint.
Brazilian midfielder who plays for Manchester, Andres Pereira. Fulham.
Yes, yes, they have the smallest. Craven Cottage was designed by the same architect. Leach is the smallest stadium surface area wise in the Premier League. There goes your bit of trivia, man.
No, yeah, I think over the years, obviously, when the stadium was set up, it had few stands, and then there was a few standing areas as well. But over the years, I think capacity for various reasons was reduced. So I think somewhere in the 70s, 80s, the capacity was reduced to 60,000 because of multiple renovations and safety improvements. Then in 1993, the Taylor report, which defined the minimum basic criteria for stadiums, was established, and at that point in time, Old Trafford's capacity was reduced to 44,000. So it pretty much came down to half. Then after that, United started redeveloping a few stands. The North Stand was redeveloped in 95. In 99, second tiers were added to the East and West Stand. And then finally, second tiers were added in 2006 to the Northwest and Northeast quadrant on the sides, which is where our capacity reached to somewhere close to 75,000, which it is today.
I mean, this sounds so bizarre to me because we're talking about 2006 when the last redesign and when the last renovations which happened at Old Trafford. Of course, things have changed. We have introduced the section for the disabled, and
Yeah.
the capacity has gone up or down, and we still fill up the stadium full on, but this time almost coincides with the Glazers taking over. Is it?
Absolutely.
Almost 20 years, and we haven't had any major redesign, even though the club has been calling for it. And over these years, we have seen how clubs have gone about and
Yep.
built big new shiny stadiums. We've seen Real Madrid do that. We have seen Barcelona do that. We have seen Tottenham Spurs do that, and
Yep.
it'll be so nice to eventually see a new Old Trafford. But talking about this Old Trafford, we were there 5 years back, and
Yeah.
what a night it was. We went there for the Newcastle game. We won that 4-1 Boxing Day night as well.
Absolutely.
Brilliant memories, man. What do you remember from that night?
No, I think the picture that we have on the screen is one of my favorite memories. We were walking through Salford Case, and it was the day of Christmas. Everything was shut that day. And in this image, and I remember Dheeraj, we didn't know that, right behind this is the Old Trafford Stadium. We were anyway supposed to go there the next day for the game. Uh, but we saw a little bit of a glimpse, and you said, I think it looks like Old Trafford, and which is where we kept walking in that direction. And then we saw our first image of Old Trafford up close, and this is that one where we saw Old Trafford up close for the first
Mm.
time. And I am having a little bit of a goosebump moment right now. It was a brilliant feeling when you see the stadium for the first time, and you were describing the feeling when you entered the stadium. Why don't you
Oh
describe?
yeah, yeah, I mean, I was talking about the match day, and I was just taking the stairs. We were in the northwest quadrant, I remember. So the two choices that we had, I remember you giving me these two choices was, do you want to go to the loudest stand? Do you want to have the best view? And I told you I want what is nearest to the Stratford end, and you booked these tickets. And even though it was a bit far from the pitch, oh man, what a atmosphere! Like I entered, and even though the stadium was not as full, as soon as we entered, it
Yeah.
became full very close to the game, but what an atmosphere. We were very lucky to see two goals by Anthony Marshall, and we sang our hearts out that day.
Tony Marshall scores again.
Oh yeah, I mean, I remember, seated just next to us was a father who brought his child, and I remember this father was given these tickets as gift by his boss on Christmas, and he told me that his boy was watching his first game, and it was just. It was such a good moment to see that he's just passing on his fandom, his delusions to his son as well. So yeah,
That reminds me, do you remember the moment when we had breakfast that morning?
oh yeah, I mean everyone in Manchester saw us wearing the jerseys, and they were so kind, and everyone just
So I think there was this
oh the
there was
guilty
this
feeling.
yeah, there was this old man, and we were having like proper English breakfast at this cafe. And they just saw, I think my bag had the United logo. You were wearing the jersey, if I'm not wrong. And they just saw us and they said, we're winning against Newcastle, eh? And we were like, yeah, absolutely. And so yeah, you can see, I think football was in the air at that point in time. It was a lovely, lovely moment. But that said, footballing wise, what according to you has been the most memorable moments at Old Trafford for United?
And we talked about this, and right now the most iconic moment which I can think of is Sir Alex retirement, when the whole Old Trafford like just sat still. There was such a flow of emotions that day because I think it was a culmination of a lot of things. It was a culmination of his 26 years at the club. It was a culmination of the last year when we had lost to City on goal difference, and how we came back this season. But I think I remember his walk. I remember his speech that day, and it was just I still see that speech a lot of times on YouTube. Him asking us to support Moise as much as possible. We didn't know, did we, that we'll go through this phase. So that is my, that is a memory which holds true in about Old Trafford.
Yeah, no, something similar for me. And although we have had some great results at Old Trafford, like one of the results that always comes to my mind is the 8-2 win against Arsenal. It doesn't really get better than that.
Mm.
But my favorite moment is from the same season. It's the Robin Van Persie volley against Aston Villa to seal the title. Wayne Rooney crossing just before the half line, putting in that long ball in, and Robin Van Persie first touch volley in. to seal his hat trick and pretty much sealing the win for us, which helped us win the 20th Premier League title.
Oh man, Old Trafford really erupted that season, didn't it? I mean, we
Yes,
were making comebacks after comebacks, and I think the Old Trafford faithful have been a backbone because of that. We have been the 12th man, and wow, what a season it was! What a way to, retire, and what a way to say goodbye to the legendary stadium that it is.
absolutely, absolutely. And I think one of the design factors with regard to the new stadium, they're saying they want to bring players, supporters closer into the pitch. So I think a better atmosphere is created, and hopefully that happens. Hopefully, some of the legacy of Old Trafford is, not forgotten. It's is leveraged as part of the new stadium, and there are probably we have 5 to 6 years before this new stadium comes in. We are definitely already thinking about having one more visit at the Old Trafford, and we believe all of you, for whoever it's possible, I think all the fans must try and make it to Old Trafford once in life. I think it's a life-changing experience. It defines a lot of things about the club, and I think we got not only to learn a lot about the history of the club, but also to absorb that atmosphere, the pre-game atmosphere, post-game atmosphere, having the stadium tour, all of that. What do you think?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I can definitely, categorize my life pre my Old Trafford visit and post my Old Trafford visit. So definitely, I'd implore all the fans to at least go to the stadium, at least once if they can, and just absorb the atmosphere. Win, lose or draw, you'll see how good the United faithful is, and it's just a brilliant experience. It's just a life altering event you'll have in your Manchester United supporting history.
Absolutely. Great. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. Hopefully you uh, enjoyed listening to a little bit about the history of Old Trafford Stadium. We will be back with a new episode soon. Thanks for joining in. Do give us your thoughts if you have visited Old Trafford. What was that experience like for you? Let us know about that. And yeah, as always, this is our perch. Let's knock him off. Until next time, stay united.